Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. Today, the continuation of the discussion of the Hispanic community from the right and the left, plus water issues. Ray Hagar has the rundown.
Today, we're going to talk about Hispanic issues with Roberto Nerey, Jesse Gutierrez, and Washoe County District Attorney Gammick. And then we're going to talk about water issues for a thirsty state with Tina Nappe and Susan Lynn.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
This is one of Sierra Power's main generating plants. It's right next door to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center. These plants provide all the clean, reliable power that businesses need. TRI has 3 independent power generation facilities on site. For sensitive manufacturing companies and high-tech firms, this benefit is invaluable. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
I tell you, John, this industry has really changed.
Tell me about it.
You seemed to do pretty well last year. What's your secret?
No secrets. Although I'll tell you something. The smartest thing I did was sign up with Pro Group Management.
Really? Yeah, they do workers' comp, right?
Yeah, their services are great. And get this, they saved me 30%. I've heard they saved others 50%.
That works for me.
Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
For more than a decade, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has been helping the community embrace conservation as a way of life. That includes replacing more than 50 million square feet of grass with water-smart landscaping. During the worst drought on record, watering restrictions and tough landscaping codes have reduced the community's water use by billions of gallons, even as thousands of new residents were moving into Nevada. That's smart water management, and that's our promise to Nevada.
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
A couple of months ago here on Nevada Newsmakers, we started a dialogue with the Hispanic community from both the right and the left. It was a very interesting discussion. We wanted to continue it. There was also a little controversy that occurred on that program, and I want to bring in our guests here and discuss this. We'll start out with Jesse Gutierrez, who's a Hispanic voter and conservative, Roberto Nerey, who is the chairman of the Mexican American Caucus, and Dick Gammick, the Washoe County District Attorney. The reason that Dick is here is after the initial discussion we had on the program, Dick, you made some comments that kind of upset these other 2 gentlemen here. Would you repeat what you said, and let's get this out of the way, and then we can get on to the real discussion.
Sure. What I made an observation when they were done making their presentation on the show, that during the entire time of the show that they had used the term Latino consistently and had never used the term American. And my whole crux of my comments were to create, I try all the time to create awareness among people in this country. First of all, if people are voting, they're citizens. So they are American citizens. And I make a point all the time, and that until this country, and I'm not the first one to do this, John Wayne did it years ago, Roosevelt did it before him, saying we need to get off the hyphenated, we need to get off people in this country calling each other by a lot of different things, because as long as we continue to have that, we're going to have the separation of all the different races and everything else. We're all Americans. We need to all get an awareness that we are Americans and work toward that so we get rid of some of these issues we're having today.
Jesse, what was your response to that?
Well, by default, if you're voting, you're an American. So that issue I didn't think would need to be brought up. But what I think, and I feel that Dick is saying, is that we need to emphasize the American portion more so than the Latino portion. Well, I tend to disagree a little bit with that because we were talking about, in that point, how Latinos voted in 2004. That's what the discussion was. Whether we were considering ourselves Latino Americans, Hispanic Americans, or whatever, that was not the issue of the discussion. But when Dick brought up that point, okay, he did make a solid point that he may create division, but why should it? If people are happy with their culture or they don't have shame with their culture, they can still be Americans and still keep their culture. That's the thing that if it's a choice in this country. This is why it's such a country that it is. It's a great country because you can choose to be whatever you want to be, call yourself whatever you want to call yourself, be free and still be an American. And others, I don't think, should try to put any kind of restraints on how you may want to consider yourself as long as you're an American.
But I guess the bottom line is that you're not really disagreeing with the basic point, which is that we're all Americans.
Right.
And we all have our histories and subcultures that go along with that, and we're all proud of that.
Right.
But bottom line is we are all Americans.
Yes.
Roberto?
Well, I disagree, first of all, with Dick saying that all we did was address Latino word and not so much Mexican American or Latino American. If I remember correctly, I was very aggressive with the word Latino American because it's very important for my identity and respects with who I am. Second of all, Sam, I want to make it clear, you guys invited us to your show. You guys created the title Hispanic Vote. You guys said, come and let's talk about the impact the Latino vote has created. You know, if there's anyone who should have been prosecuted in this sense, should have been you guys for even titling it like that. All we were doing was following directions with respect to how we felt, you know, the Latino vote made an impact on. Second of all, you know, we're not in the John Wayne stages anymore. You know, this isn't the late 1700s anymore. You know, we're not the 13 colonies in which this great country was founded in. This country is no longer Anglo-Saxon Protestant. Since then, we've moved forward. We've created civil rights laws. There's been immigration laws. And, you know, as a result of that, people like me want to identify themselves for who we are. And I think that that's something that we should take in consideration and also respect, especially individuals like Dick Gammick, who has a elected position, because not doing so creates more tension.
You want to respond, Dick?
My whole point is the very thing that we should be proud of and we should all be touting is the fact we are Americans. You don't hear me saying I'm Irish American or German American or anything like that. And I am not. I've been accused of being a racist. I've been called a racist by people sitting at this table, and not Jesse Gutierrez for my comments. I am not by any chance knocking down people's cultures. I'm not telling them they don't have to be proud of their cultures or anything. I never even addressed that. But until we get over this hump of where we all say we're Americans, and I'll tell you what, right now, for all the people that come in and take the oath, which I don't believe Mr. Nerey has, but all people that come in and take the oath, I hereby declare on oath that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty of which I've heretofore been subject as a citizen. They say that, and then they go on to say that they do this voluntarily. And they take the oath to the Constitution of the United States and the flag of the United States, and then they go on to say they will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. They take the oath to become American citizens, and all I'm saying is they should be proud of that and make that. I am an American. I don't care if they say I'm an American of Latino descent. I'm an American from Mexico. I don't care about any of that. That's fine. That's beautiful. But first and foremost, we're all Americans if we are American citizens.
Roberto, you're steaming over here. You want to...
Well, you're looking at a man who's not only narrow-minded, but ignorant with respects to how we should, you know, identify ourselves with. He has not walked in my shoes. He has absolutely no idea of the challenges that I, as a Mexican-American, has gone through. As the result of that, I'm not an American citizen, but let me tell you what I am, sir. I am the person who gets at least 1,300 voters every year registered. I am the person that talks and teaches the Mexican-American community about the importance of not only registering to vote, but practicing that vote, sir. And as a result of that,
Are you a registered voter, Mr. Nerey?
No, sir, I'm not. But as a result of that, I do a lot more than you could ever do. And that to me is important because this man addresses issues only that benefit himself. He's narrow-minded in the sense that he can't be open-minded and respect people of culture and color. And that to me bothers me. And unless this man starts changing, his political career will have an impact.
You want to respond?
Go ahead, Jesse.
I just want to reiterate a couple of things. I'm wearing this button for a reason, Hispanic Americans. It was a stamp that was made several years ago for the contributions that the Hispanic Americans have contributed to this great country. Among them, there's a lot of things that I could start labeling down, including the most congressional medals of honor that has been given to any minority group have been Hispanics, and on and on. And I can go on through to this kind of stuff forever. So the issue is here to try to figure out the fact that we all make a contribution to this great American country. Whether we mention it or not, I don't think has to be a point of discussion. Just the fact that we are, just the fact that we have been here, just the fact that we contribute, just the fact that we have added a lot to this country's great growth should be the whole matter of what we're talking about.
Okay, Dick, you want to have the last word here?
And I have absolutely no objection to what Jesse just said. There have been tremendous strides, but my whole concern is the first thing that happens, especially people that come up out of Mexico. They come up here to this country, they don't trust the system, they don't trust the government, they don't trust the legal side of the system because it's extremely corrupt there. So they come up here and they come into this country, they don't trust us. They don't have any faith in us. We have a really difficult time enforcing the laws, helping them, helping the Mexican Americans that come here, the Americans from Mexico, helping them when they're victims of crime and stuff is extremely difficult because of this distrust. Having all the negatives, having all the name calling, having all the things that go on from Mr. Nerey and other people of his ilk doesn't accomplish a thing. And having Jesse Gutierrez and people like him to work with that help us to try to do positive things, to try to make roads into this really helps. And there was just a big write-up Sunday in the paper, Ray, if you remember, that talked about how much inroad has been made now on the communications issue, on teaching people English and them learning the American language so that we can communicate. That's one of our biggest problems. You wrote it. So there was a good article and things are happening that are positive, and that's what we have to emphasize.
What do you expect from a Republican statement? And unless people like him are willing to meet us halfway and respect us, sir, because respect is earned, not given, you're not going to get anywhere. Regardless if you work with people like Jesse or not, you have a responsibility to work with the community in general, not just the selected few. And you, sir, have a problem with that.
I respect people that earn it.
Okay, we'll take a break. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
For a videotape copy of any Nevada Newsmakers program, call 775-857-2244. The tapes are $20 each, including shipping.
If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years.
Reno's best dining values are all at one casino, the Pepper Mill. You can enjoy great savings on our popular specials. Pepper Mill's coffee shop offers daily lunch specials, low-carb dining, and all your favorite comfort foods. You'll find sensational lunch specials featuring Reno's freshest seafood, sushi, pasta, and more at Oceano. And early bird specials at Reno's Premier Steakhouse and Romanza Ristorante Italiano. The best values are at the Pepper Mill. Where are you dining?
Your best value in sight is here for you to see. From frames to lenses to eye exams, you're covered A to Z. Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
Davis Optical Centers, with 2 locations in Reno and Sparks.
Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
When you need a new employee, how can you be sure who you're really hiring? A background investigation by Employer Links will uncover criminal records, verify the applicant's education, check their credit history and Social Security verification. An investigation will research professional licenses and driver's licenses and let you know why they're unemployed. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And we continue our discussion here with Ray Hagar and myself, with Roberto Nerey, chairman of the Mexican-American Caucus, and Jesse Gutierrez, who is a Hispanic voter and a conservative one, and Washoe County District Attorney Dick Gammick.
Jesse and Roberto, let me address this question to you. There's an estimated 66,000 registered Latino or Hispanic voters in Nevada. What happened to that? Why did, with all those Hispanic votes, why did basically things stay the status quo in Nevada? Bush again took the state, no Hispanic candidates were elected, very few Hispanic candidates actually ran for office.
You have to take into consideration that this process is fairly new to us, and we're kind of like a baby. We're nurturing our goals. We're nurturing the things that we want to accomplish. That takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. But I think what's important here is that we started, and as a result of that, in the future, we will make an impact with respect to individuals who want to run for office, so we can either keep them out or support them. And I think that's a powerful statement, and that's one that in the future will be one that's true.
We got a lot of inroads to still do. Nevada is, as you know, a little bit behind the times when it comes to having diversity in all of its governmental positions, whether it's states, city, county, whatever. If you look at the distribution of the people that are represented, it is not equal to the 23-24% of the Latino Americans that are here. And that needs to change so that then things like this can become less and less and more of a positive nature towards getting things done that help the entire community, the entire state of Nevada, which I'm very proud to be after being born in Texas, worked in California, and now living in Nevada, and I hope that I will stay here. I love this state, but we have a lot of inroads to do. And coming from those two other states that are a little bit more advanced when it comes to diversity, then this is the job that I think we still are here, and why I'm thinking I'm here to get things done, positive things that work with the Washoe County School District to get more programs for the schools, getting the first Latino liaison in there to talk with the parents, getting the first dual language charter school in the state of Nevada, the Mariposa, having a Latino professional development series, all this thing that needs to work, the lead programs to get more Latino leaders in positions, that's where we need to go, but we're a little bit behind. And we need to get forward, and we need to get past this in order for us to then be recognized as and get the respect from everybody that we deserve.
Okay, Dick, if I can just follow up real quickly, what ways are you trying to interact with the Hispanic community?
And that's one issue, and Jesse and I have talked about this a lot, and boy, I wish that Miguel Sepulveda was still alive, because he was tremendous. He helped me a lot. We've had a real tough time here because we've had a lot of Hispanic people come to our community who are basically non-skilled, non-educated, doing the lower menial jobs and all of that. And we haven't really had a pool of educated, trained Hispanic people to start drawing from for these leadership roles. I was just telling Jesse this last week, and we've been on the search for it for a long time. I just hired 2 bilingual ladies who were qualified for the job, who are ready to come in and go to work. In fact, one of them's already started, and now they're going to help us with our communications issues and what we're working with, because we've got to get past these barriers. And I agree with Jesse totally that we work hard to build this, but we've got to remember at the same time that we're trying, what are we going for here? You know, we're going for a cohesiveness that is on a country that is known as the United States of America, and everybody here is Americans. And that's the whole thing, I think, the final goal that we're headed for, where everyone is treated equal, just like that Pledge of Allegiance that we say every day.
And you know, and we're out of time. I want to continue the discussion. I think these are very important issues, and this is a great forum to be able to do that in. And so we invite you all to come back in varying forms over the next few months. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Until 3 years ago, my medical problems have been very few. I knew very little about the medical world. Then I got pneumonia, which produced heart trouble, and I was suddenly thrust into a whole new experience that was very bewildering and very difficult to handle.
One-stop access for caregivers, NevadaCareConnection.org.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we welcome to the program Tina Nappe, who's a member of the Nevada Water Network, and Susan Lynn, Executive Director of Public Resource Associates and also a member of Nevada Water Network.
Okay, the first thing I want to ask you ladies is the Growth Task Force in Washoe County has a proposal to limit growth to supply and
There's not. There's not. It is not to limit growth. No.
Tell me about it then. Explain
Well, the
it to
Growth
me.
Task Force came out of a proposal to have a vote on whether growth should continue at its current pace. But at this stage of the game, we have formed this task force that is looking at the questions of land use, water, and growth, not to limit it, but to understand it and maybe make some prescriptions about where it ought to go.
Well, shouldn't it be limited to natural resources and available water? I mean, growth in general? Aren't we going to run out of water if we grow too quickly?
We can't address that on behalf of the task force because the task force has not addressed that at this point. So,
do you have a personal opinion?
We're here today to talk about the fact that and several times on this panel, I have heard people say what we need is more land, and we've had that in Clark County and now more recently in Washoe County.
Based upon the fact that if we had more land available to us...
We don't necessarily have more water.
But if we had more land available to us from the federal government, that would allow housing prices to drop because the land prices would drop.
Where's the water?
I think...
And that's what we're here. We're not debating whether there's a need for more housing, and it's not clear whether the housing prices would drop. What we're concerned about is that easy water has run out, and one of the values of public lands is that they basically, because they're not private, they're not requiring water. And if we're going to go and get water, we need to know how much water we have, where we can get it, and frankly, how much the rest of us are going to be giving up who have water now in order to support the new housing. So it's the fact that land doesn't equal water.
But the reality is that people are coming here, and water importation is going to have to be a part of our future. If it's not, we're going to run out just with the population we have now, both in southern and northern Nevada. In southern Nevada, they're making plans 15, 20 years down the road, according to the Southern Nevada Water Authority, to build desalination plants off the coast of Southern California that would therefore allow us to take more Colorado River water into Las Vegas and give the new water that was desalinated to Southern California. We also have lots of water importation ideas for Northern Nevada as well. Are you against those?
The water importation projects are usually quite costly, and it's whether you want to pay the price, and can growth pay for the price of those kinds of things. Not only do you have water, but you have flood control, you have sewage, you have water quality issues to deal with. And I just retired from the Regional Water Planning Commission, and those are all issues that we dealt with in the current plan. There is a plan to import some water, as you know, but it's a costly project. But now the cost of it has become equal to the cost of water rights from the river. So that may make it more, not more affordable, but it equals out the price so that you can consider it.
Well, what can developers do? They're building the homes. What can they do to help solve this water problem?
Well, in northern Nevada, they're required to get their water and bring it. And southern
it's
Nevada,
1.5 water rights, isn't it, to every right that they want to use? They have to bring 1.5 water rights to the table?
It's 1.2 acre feet per acre per household.
Okay, but it's more. So every time you actually put a water right into building a home or a business, you're actually conserving water to an extent.
No, because a house uses water all year long, whereas the ag right, the agricultural right that was converted, only used it for about 6 months of the year.
But in a very wasteful manner, would you not say?
Well, we do.
Flood irrigation is not exactly conservation.
But it recharges the groundwater that we can, that we're now tapping.
And that we're now relying on, and that groundwater isn't as likely to be there now that there's no agriculture.
Where do you two women see water rights or just the water issue in 20 years down the road? Are we going to be a thirsty state with not enough water for all our growth?
We're currently seeing the edge of the envelope on water that is available in the state. Now, the question again then becomes the cost of infrastructure to import it or to desalinate or to recycle or whatever the case might be. And are we ready to pay that cost yet? We don't all have a big Colorado River running by us. We have a little Truckee River running by us. And there are other demands on both of those rivers, including the Humboldt, the Carson, the Walker. And
we're out of time right now, but this is an interesting discussion. I'd like to have you guys come back. I'd like to have some folks that are in favor of some of these importations to be in the discussion with you. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
This is one of Sierra Power's main generating plants. It's right next door to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center. These plants provide all the clean, reliable power that businesses need. TRI has 3 independent power generation facilities on site. For sensitive manufacturing companies and high-tech firms, this benefit is invaluable. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
Not all of us got a chance to visit with Vice President Dick Cheney when he visited Reno yesterday. Ray Hagar was a reporter at the meeting, and for the Reno Gazette-Journal. I want to get your thoughts on what happened there.
Well, Sam, I didn't get a chance to visit with the Vice President either.
Surprise.
He poofed, left before we could ask him any questions. But he did come across very well, I think, in talking about President Bush's Social Security plan. His plan for a private retirement account really made a lot of sense to me, and some of the others in the audience. Some of the Democrats in the audience told me afterward that they were for the plan as it was outlined by the Vice President.
Okay, what was it that made you change your mind?
Well, the key thing is about the individual retirement accounts. You would take 1/3 of the money that you now pay into Social Security, which you get about a 2% or less than a 2% return on, put it in an individual retirement account, much like a 401k, IRA, or any other retirement fund that you may have, and that money will grow faster than it would if it was just in Social Security. And the key thing that really pleased a lot of people at the meeting yesterday is the money that you earn in your individual retirement account can be bequeathed to your heirs, whereas now all your Social Security money, except if you got a spousal thing going, once you die, no one gets it and you're out of luck.
Okay, 2 points. One is, what happens if you choose to retire, like if you had been in the mid-'80s when the stock market crashed?
You know, that's a good point, but in these individual retirement plans, you would get, from what I understand, you don't have to put it in stocks. You can put it in bonds. You can put it in other retirement funds. They're safe and conservative funds, much like some municipalities use for a retirement fund for their employees in other states than Nevada.
Did the Vice President address how we're going to pay for this? Because if people are taking 1/3 of their money that would normally go into the Social Security fund and investing it privately, how are we going to cover the trillions of dollars that are going to be needed to shore up the current system?
That's a good question, and he did not address that as I recall right now. I was taking notes through the whole thing, and he kind of was in and out. He was all done within an hour, and it seemed like some of the questions that were asked of him were kind of staged, and he left very quickly before anyone else could ask him questions.
Just briefly, a lot of people have said, well, why would you hold a meeting with the Vice President in a place that only holds 300 people? Was this just a thing so that the newspapers and the TV stations would get it and spend it across the state?
No, Sam, I think the use of the Neal Road Community Center has a good effect for both parties, because that's where Teresa Hines Carey also spoke during the presidential campaign. It's in the middle of the Latino community, and I think that's a good sign that both parties are going to areas in the Latino community. Plus, it's close to the airport, so Dick Cheney can get out of town real quick.
Okay, thanks, Ray. Coming up tomorrow, charter schools, women's issues on Nevada Newsmakers. We'll see you then. Thank you.